The answer to the Cincinnati Reds pitching problem is out there and is just waiting on Nick Krall to give a call to the Toronto Blue Jays.
You are Locked On Reds, your daily Cincinnati Reds podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello there, everydayers. Welcome in. My name's Stephen Offenbaker. That guy's Jeff Carr, and this is Locked On Reds. Thanks for helping make the Locked On Podcast Network the #1 sports podcasting network in all the land. A little bit later on in today's show, we are going to talk about who to watch in this upcoming series against the Washington Nationals, who we can expect to have the biggest impact on this series. We're also going to talk about why the Nationals are the way that they are right now. There are some stats that clearly demonstrate why the Nationals are the Nationals right now. We're going to talk about that here in just a few minutes. But where we are going to begin is the Reds pitching situation continues to get more and more convoluted. In case you missed it, Chase Petty in his last start down in Louisville left the game, wait for it, with a blister. He is going to be reevaluated in a few days. We will see where that leaves things. But what it means is the Reds are now in a position where they're going to have to scramble to find somebody to make that next start that we all assumed was going to Chase Petty, Jeff. So there are some options now. Option A, bring somebody else up from Louisville. There is a candidate. Option B, you go with a bullpen day a la David Bell circa 3 years ago. Nobody really wants to do that, and it's probably a really bad idea. And option 3, behind door number 3, Jeff Carr, is a phone call to David Bell to call up the Toronto Blue Jays and try and work a deal for a guy that they just designated for assignment.
So what you're saying is David Bell could fix the Reds' problems.
God help us all.
I totally forgot he was in the front office out there. Yeah, the Toronto Blue Jays designated for assignment Eric Lauer. Eric Lauer is a starting pitcher. He has been stretched out as a starting pitcher, and he has a pretty fine career as a mostly starting pitcher. He pitched out of the bullpen a little bit for the Milwaukee Brewers a few years back. In fact, he was a guy that pitched as the Nick Martinez role for the Milwaukee Brewers a few years back, and I really liked what he brought to the table, or more specifically, the mound for the Brewers back then. He even had a pretty good year in 2025. He has just had a horrid, abysmal, terrible, no good, very bad 2026 for the Toronto Blue Jays. His ERA is up over 6. He is leading he's at least tied for the American League lead in home runs allowed. So there are some numbers that are not so sexy. But based on what the Reds need at this moment, this is the guy they need to go get because he was just DFA'd. So literally the Blue Jays are looking for anything. Maybe they're even looking for a little bit more gravy to put on their poutine for Eric Lauer, and just go ahead and send it on up and send him on down, and we can fix the starting pitching problem for the Reds, at least for the short term, because it looks like Rhett Lowder is going to miss at least 3 weeks. He's going to be put on the 15-day injured list. And God help us that we have to talk about another blister. Can we just get a Vaseline sponsorship or something at this point? I don't know. But it's blisters all around in this organization. Just go get a guy that's proven it. Eric Lauer has a career that you can rely on as far as production is concerned. And we don't have to worry about who is Davis Daniel or what is a bullpen day. Because God help us if we have to explain that.
You know, Eric Lauer had a rough 2023 in Milwaukee. His statistics looked a lot like they look right now. Then he did not pitch in the big leagues in 2024. 2025 for the Toronto Blue Jays, Jeff, he was once again that Nick Martinez type of guy. He played in 28 games, started 15 of them. He had a strikeout per 9 of 8.8 and a walk rate of 2.2. He was a good guy for the Toronto Blue Jays. And suddenly this year, he has once again forgotten how to pitch. I think you take a flyer on this guy. I think this is a decent move for the Reds to experiment with. And if it doesn't work out, well, then you still go to the AAA option that we're going to talk about here in just a minute. But here's the question that Phil Castellini's going to ask Nick Krall the second that Nick Krall broaches this subject with him. What does Eric Lauer cost us there, Nick Krall? Well, he's on the final year of his arbitration eligibility. He's making $4.4 million, which the Reds would have to pay a considerable part of. If they just bring up a guy from Louisville, it's going to cost them about $800,000. So there is a significant cost difference in keeping it in-house. But if you want to talk about a guy that's going to make 2 or 3 starts before Rhett Lowder could possibly be back, do you want a guy who in his career has a 4.26 ERA, in his career has a strikeout per 9 of 8.5, in his career has a walk per 9 of 3.3, or do you want to go with a complete unknown and gamble? If you can get Eric Lauer for a player to be named later, low minor league kind of guy, or just cash considerations, or, partial payment of a contract, this is kind of a no-brainer to me right now, because Lauer is ready to go and can drop into the rotation right now and pitch and is stretched out and could be a starter.
Well, and take it one step further too. What are the career innings totals for Eric Lauer right now?
732 2/3 big league innings.
The other option that we're talking about, Davis Daniel down in Louisville, does have some career experience at the major league level. 52 and 2/3. There's literally 700 innings difference between these two guys. Go get the guy that's thrown 700 innings. And look, if you're going to start to analyze the minutia of this, Eric Lauer is probably at the worst part of his career. That is not what we're talking about here. We're not talking about Eric Lauer's going to come in and save this rotation as far as being its leader. We're talking about Eric Lauer's going to come in and save this pitching staff so that they don't have to think about a bullpen day every 5th day. Ideally, he can give them 5 innings and then they can go to their bullpen as normal, as opposed to what the other options would be. Would Davis Daniel give you 5 or 6 innings? Yeah. And then what is the other option? You bring up Jose Franco, who is not stretched out to 5 or 6 innings. And then you're talking about a 3-inning appearance, and then you're getting back into that bullpen day idea. I think that ultimately, when you look at the options, and as much as it's going to pain Phil Castellini to pay a little bit more money for this, this is what they should do. Because if they're telling us that they want the division, which they are, then you've got to make these moves that make more sense than others. Because the Reds of years past would call up Davis Daniel, would add him to the 40-man roster, and wouldn't bat an eyelash at it. This Reds team needs to be different, and they need to go get Eric Lauer.
And just on that note, very quickly, it's an easy add to the 40-man roster right now. You can transfer Eugenio Suarez to the 60-day. You could transfer Caleb Ferguson to the 60-day. There's moves that could be made right now to get a guy on the 40-man roster to start this week. To your point about being able to go around 5 innings, Eric Lauer pitched on Sunday for the Toronto Blue Jays and went 5 innings. So, in fact, out of his last 5 starts, 3 of those last 5 starts were 5 innings. So this is something that he can do reasonably and help this bullpen a little bit.
Yeah, and looking at Davis Daniels' game logs here recently, the last time he went more than 5 innings was April 19th. He went 7 innings. He also went 6 innings on April 9th, 5 2/3 on April 14th. That's it. That's all. No more than that. So I don't know that this is a apples to apples comparison here. This is a apples to same old Reds comparison. Now, we all hate that term, right? Same old Reds, but same old Reds would call up Davis Daniel in this situation. And I think they need to look differently at this. Eric Lauer has the thing that you want when it comes to any ad to this team. We talked about it all off season. Give me a resume. Stop giving me a prospect report card. And he has a resume that you can rely on. And for a reliable back end of the rotation option, and this is just to be a stopgap, the moment that Rhett Lowder is ready to come back, the moment that Chase Petty, maybe you consider leaving Chase Petty in AAA if you've got Eric Lauer, the moment that you're ready, we've talked about the starting pitching depth and how it's been decimated really quickly, and we're begging people to stop saying, well, it can't get any worse. Well, then Chase Petty goes out and get a blister. So stop saying that and go get Eric Lauer.
I agree. I think if I'm rating the order of what they should do, the first thing is to go get a guy like Eric Lauer, get the experience, get the proven guy that has done it well at the big league level over a lot of seasons. Never mind the what you have done for me lately crowd. Let's just see what he can do. And if that doesn't work out, then maybe you have to consider somebody like Davis Daniel. You have to hope by then that either Chase Petty or Rhett Lowder is ready to drop back into this rotation, something. But just going with a bullpen day for me should not be an option, should not be considered, should not even be talked about in that Reds clubhouse, in that Reds front office, because it is still May. They cannot start putting those kind of innings on these pitchers' arms and expect to have guys still have something left in the tank in September and October.
And the good news is this is big picture stuff. When we look at this national series, though, things are a little bit different. The starting rotation is set, but they are about to face a lineup that is really going early on in 2026.
If you've ever opened your bank account and thought, where did all my money go? You're not alone. Keeping track of subscriptions, spending, and bills can get overwhelming fast. That's where Rocket Money comes in, helping you take control of your finances all in one place. It tracks all of your subscriptions in one spot and can help you cancel the ones that you don't need with just a few taps. It automatically categorizes your spending so that you can actually see where your money is going, and you can set budgets, you can set alerts, you can get notified and stay on top of your upcoming bills. It just makes everything more organized and gives you a clearer picture of your finances day to day. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills so that you can grow your savings. Let Rocket Money help you reach your financial goals faster. Join at rocketmoney.com/lockedon. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon.
You already make us your team every single day. Now take it up a notch and go ad-free. Join the Locked On Reds Everydayer Club, lockedonreds.supercast.com, or you can just click the link in the description here below. You can get ad-free feed and group chat on Discord with us, Tim Daniel, every other Locked On MLB host. You can talk some trash with other NL Central teams as the Reds climb their way back to the top like we're expecting they will. That's all on the Locked On Reds Everydayer Club. More info at that link down in the description below. All right, Steve, they start a 3-game set at Great American Ballpark due to these Redlegs with the Washington Nationals beginning tonight. And ahead of the probable starters for the Reds is quite a lineup, because this Washington Nationals team has really begun the season with the bats quite well. And it all starts with James Wood. Don't call him James Woods, not the guy from Family Guy. It's James Wood. He's got a lot of wood, and he hits that ball a long way.
You know, looking at this national series, Jeff, I have concerns about their hitters versus the pitching, but I feel like ultimately the Reds should be favored. Everything kind of leans Cincinnati in this series, and you look at how their hitters are performing, and the stats say they're doing well, over 5 in cumulative WAR right now for the offense for the Nationals. But I think that the Reds pitching staff right now, especially the starting pitching, finally starting to turn a corner, with the exception of Brady Singer, but everybody finally starting to turn a corner. Hopefully that gets the Reds in a position to shut that hitting down a little bit. And if you can do that, if the Nationals hitters can be contained just a little bit, this is a get-right series for the Reds lineup. And they'll have the ability to kind of tee off on this pitching staff. But this should be on paper, looking at it, God help us, you know what happens when we talk about players around here, but should be on paper, looking at it, a get-right series for the Reds hitters, and they should be able to score some runs.
Right, and that's going to be the thing. Like, does the Nationals lineup that has started this year so well take over the Reds pitching staff that should be better, or can the Reds lineup do its thing? And we're talking about the fact that this national team is coming in here. I mean, they've got 44 home runs on the season so far, Steve. They're right up there with the Reds as far as team power is concerned. But you also take into account the fact that this lineup does not strike out as a whole. They have a 21% strikeout rate, which is really good when you look at the rest of the National League. And I mentioned James Wood. James Wood right now, 1.4 WAR, at least according to Fangraphs. But also CJ Abrams is right there with him. CJ Abrams actually leads the National League in RBIs right now. The shortstop for the Washington Nationals. This is going to be a heck of a shortstop series between Elly De La Cruz and CJ Abrams. CJ Abrams also slashing 287, 385, 531. He's got a 162 OPS plus right now. Same with James Wood. So you're looking at two dudes in this lineup that the Reds are really going to have to control very well with their pitching staff, because we have seen series with the Nationals where they have really surprised some teams. I know that they were part of the gauntlet, in quotes I use that for, that knocked the Mets around for 10 games. I think at one point they swept the Phillies as well. So as much as they're coming in here right around 500, trying to figure out who they are as a team, they are a dangerous side. And I agree with you that the Reds should be favored, but this is not a series like they had with the Nationals the last couple of years where it's like, all right, beat them 2 out of 3. And if you don't, then we've got serious questions about this ball club, because this Nationals team is better.
Better. I'll give you better, but I feel like 2 out of 3, or it's considered a huge disappointment. I'm right where I was if we were playing the Nationals last year. This is a series. I mean, really, if you're looking at it on paper and what this Nationals pitching staff does, the Reds should score a lot of runs. And no matter how good the hitting is for the Nationals, the Reds pitching staff is just a lot better than the Nationals pitching staff. Even if it's games that the Reds win 8-4, the Reds should win these games. So I will be disappointed if they don't come out with 2 or 3. I think we're in the same spot. This is a series. The Reds have to win this series.
And that's true. Like, Nationals are better, but definitely got the expectation to win it. Your pitching matchups are Brady Singer against Miles Michaelis tonight, Nick Lodolo against Jake Irvin tomorrow, and then Chase Burns against Foster Griffin. Not going to lie, had to look up Foster Griffin, be like, that's not a name that I'm familiar with. He's actually the best pitcher for the Washington Nationals so far this season, so that could be an interesting pitching matchup on the getaway day game for the Reds in this series. Ultimately, outside of the Foster Griffin thing, like, I still think Chase Burns is better than Foster Griffin. So I think the Reds have an advantage in every single one of these games on the pitching side. So you're right. If they can take care of business, then we should be talking about 2 out of 3, maybe even a sweep. But this National side is just, I'm saying, like, get ready. If for some reason they explode for a bunch of runs, they also have a really fast dude, their second baseman, Nasim Nunez. Very interesting base runner. You cannot let him on the base paths, because he's going to steal and he's going to score if he gets on base. But all that being said, as long as the pitching does its thing, then you are right. This should be a 2 out of 3 series, no questions asked.
Yeah, and just, I don't want to underestimate the hitters for the Nationals, Jeff. I mean, they've got 5 guys with a 123 OPS plus or greater. With James Wood having 162 and CJ Abrams also having 160.
Put this lineup on the Reds pitching staff, you're talking about a pretty darn good team.
Wow, you're running away with the division for sure. It'd be a great team. But I think the hitters can manage this. I'm sorry, I think the pitchers can manage the hitters in this situation.
Yeah, I think that we're looking at Wood and we're looking at Wood and CJ Abrams as well. When it comes to this series, those are going to be the 2 guys that the Reds need to worry about the most. I've seen some interesting plays from guys like Dalen Lyle and Keber Ruiz, but Keber Ruiz is one of those catchers that I think came up with a lot of hype and has not lived up to that hype to this point. But we've seen him do some things to the Reds at the plate the last couple of years, so they've got to avoid that sort of thing. But mostly just focus on how you control Abrams and Wood. Abrams and Wood both combined for 20 homers right now. So as much as we have gushed about Elly De La Cruz and Sal Stewart, that's what Abrams and Wood are doing too. So we're basically looking at the mirror image right now, and you could argue Abrams and Wood might be slightly better based on their composite numbers in other areas. So there's a 1-2 punch here that I just got to see this Reds pitching staff take care of. This National side, man, like, they're at a crossroads, I think, because they invested some money in Zach Littell, former Red, and he is absolutely getting murdered right now. But they invested some money in a couple of veterans that made Nationals fans wonder about how the team views their aspirations for 2026. Ultimately, I don't think that's going to help them out. They're in a very tough division right now with the Braves just running away with it. And you're talking about a National League that is as deep as it's ever been. So I don't necessarily know that this could be a playoff team that sneaks on in, but I don't think that this is going to be a playoff, or I don't think that this is going to be a team that loses more than 90 ball games. I think they're going to be close to 500 by the end of this season.
Oh, Zach Littell, he leads baseball in home runs allowed with 14. He has been very prone to the long ball. So dodged a bullet there, Jeff.
Dodgeable.
All right. This is what I know. In order for the Reds to go, there are some key things and players to watch in this series with the Nationals, and we'll talk about those coming up next.
As baseball season rolls along, you can trade every game over on Kalshi. Literally every single game that the Cincinnati Reds play, that the Chicago Cubs play, the Pittsburgh Pirates, all of them are over on Kalshi. And right now, the Reds are trading at 56% to beat the Nationals tonight, meaning a $100 trade pays out $167 if they win. Feeling pretty good about that one, too. On Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. For a limited time, download the Kalshi app and use code LOCKEDON to get $10 when you trade 10. Kalshi. Kalshi. Trade on anything. 18 and up only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see kalshi.com/regulatory.
If you can't watch us here on YouTube, you can listen to us on every single podcasting app around. We're on all of them, I think. If you find one we're not on and you need us to be there, message Jeff. He can probably make it happen for you. That's also where the Everydayer Club lives, ad-free, Locked On Reds, available in the audio side of things. The link for that is down in the show description. All right, Jeff, some guys are going to have to show out in order for this to be a good series against the Washington Nationals. And there are some players we can point to that are going to have the opportunity to have the biggest impact on the Reds and help them along. But I'm going to start this off, and I'm going to tell you the guy that I am watching the most right now as the Reds head into this National series. The guy that I think has the most impact as to how this series could go is named Terry Francona. I need for Terry Francona to continue to work with this lineup and try and get guys in position to have the best results. Get away from continuing to do the same old thing that you've done in order to be loyal to your guys. I don't care if you hurt feelings. I don't care if you upset some dudes. It's about winning baseball games. It's about having productive performances on the field, and it's about putting guys in position to be the most successful they can be. Terry needs to do that in this series because the Reds can win this series, but it starts with Tito. Do I like what he's done with some of the changes recently? I don't like them all, but I like that he's trying. I like that he's reached a point of being willing to mix it up. I hope that he's listening and thought that my just make a lineup based on base percentage was the way to go. I would love it if that's the lineup they roll out, because I'm going to take all the credit in the world for that if it goes. So I just want him to continue to mix it up and put this team in a better position to score runs.
I was listening to what you were saying there, and I was using our newfangled technology to play it backwards, and I heard a subliminal message in there that said, bench key Brian Hayes. And I think that's what you were trying to say, is bench key Brian Hayes, maybe turn him into a defensive replacement. I think Barry Larkin, you didn't even have to play backwards. He said that the other day. He was like, I don't know why the Reds keep running
I'm glad that everybody is coming around to my way of thinking. I mean, it only took everybody else 3 weeks longer. And for all of the people that were coming at me when I first said it, do you still want to come at me about it?
It's so funny that like we're here now in the month of May and we're almost halfway through the month and he's still batting $125. Like at this point, what is better for Key Brian Hayes? But you're right. Like Terry Francona has got to he has got to be committed to finding the answer to the lineup because he hasn't. There has not been an answer to this point, and there is a combination out there that's going to work. He's just got to keep searching for that. And he's got to stop worrying about loyalty to certain players and, is this guy, is he not going to like? No, just play the guys that are going to win the ball game. That's how they need to roll. For me, I'm looking at a player, and I'm looking at Spencer Steer. So I really feel like Spencer Steer really has had a nice season to this point. Not saying that he is a guy that is waiting to break out. I mean, he has a 768 OPS right now, and that's the best it's been in the last couple of years. But we're talking about it. I mean, he's slugging 448 on the season, getting on base 32% of the time. These are the kind of numbers that you can rely on. We talked about him at the beginning of last year being the mashed potatoes of this lineup. And quite frankly, he had a rough start to 2025, but he became the mashed potatoes later on in the year to the point that I think people stopped watching him closely enough to appreciate it, but now people are seeing it. And the underlying numbers support this because year over year, few players in Major League Baseball have had the increase in barrel percentage that Spencer Steer has had. And if you're unfamiliar with that statistic, that is simply meaning the quality of contact. Barrels, I believe, are 98 miles an hour exit velocity and more. Barrels are something that Joseph Daniel Votto said that he liked to track and was something that he really, took account of. And so if Joey Votto is going to track that thing, then for a fact that we're going to track it. And the fact that Spencer Steer went from 7.6% barrel percentage last year to 16.8 this year. Yeah, dude is doing something right at the plate. And I think that's only going to continue to translate to even better statistics. I don't love expected numbers. I'm not going to go too crazy with this. But that 448 slugging percentage, Steve, that I said, his expected slugging percentage is 524. Even getting a little bit unlucky with what he's produced so far, I think we're just going to continue to see him provide so much value to this lineup.
Yeah, he's looked good at the plate. We've seen him start to turn on some balls. Line drive home run in the Reds' last game. He's playing right now at 11% above league average according to his OPS plus. So he's at 111 right now. That's going to continue to climb. He's going to continue to climb. His numbers are going to continue to get better. And I don't have a problem the times that Tito has used him as the number 2 hitter in this lineup either. So I think Spencer Steer can excel no matter what you ask him to do, where you ask him to play, or where you ask him to bat. He's one of those guys that's just going to go out there and bring his game. So I agree with you that Spencer Steer probably is going to be a big contributor through this series.
And I got one fun little thing for you about Spencer Steer as well. According to Baseball Savant, right now, Spencer Steer's sprint speed is 28.4. Elly De La Cruz, 28.1. Something that we haven't really talked about a whole lot. The sprint speed's been a little bit down for Elly De La Cruz so far this year. I wonder if that's just him ramping up into the season, and we'll see that crazy 100 percentile speed at some point.
He bulked up.
Right.
Elly bulked up.
Yeah, he bulked up a little bit, but right now Spencer Steer has shown better sprint speed than Elly De La Cruz, and I don't think I'd ever would have said that sentence at all. I never expected to say that sentence.
You see, line them all up and just have them run a race, and let's see what happens. I think
let's go.
I think the fact that Ellie's legs are 27 miles long will help him if you run more than 90 feet. So I don't know how many races that Spencer's beaten Elly in. Outside of Terry Francona, the other thing that we should probably talk about real quick, as much as this is an opportunity for the Reds to get right offensively and for the lineup to score some runs, this is a challenge for Brady Singer because he has not pitched well. He has not pitched consistently, but he needs to get this thing going and off to a good start and get this series moving on the right foot. And it's a tall order. It's a big ask for a guy that has struggled to come in and contain this lineup, but that's exactly what the Reds really need Brady Singer to do, especially with some of the looming question marks in this rotation and with this bullpen that we talked about in the first segment. Brady Singer needs to come out, give the Reds 5 to 6 innings where he allows, 3 runs or less, something that keeps the Reds in the ball game.
Start.
I would call that a successful start. 6 innings, 3 runs or less. Give us that, Brady Singer, and we'll say you're on your way.
And one thing I'd like to see him limit, albeit it's not been the bugaboo because he's actually got a win in one of these games, but his last 3 starts, Steve, he's allowed at least 1 home run, and 2 of those 3 starts, he's allowed a pair of home runs in each start. Now, let's see if he can cut down the long ball, because I feel like you're giving up the long ball to this national side. You're going to be giving up a lot of runs, and that's why we've seen his ERA balloon to this point. And honestly, the FIP, the fielding independent pitching, that we like to say, okay, if you see one number in ERA, one number in FIP, if FIP is lower, he's getting unlucky. His FIP's pretty much the same as his ERA. So he's just got to be better. It's not a matter of luck. It's just a matter of what we have seen from Brady Singer to this point. We haven't seen what we got from him last year. And I think that guy's still in there somewhere, but we've certainly seen him struggle at multiple times this year. I'm really hoping he's just getting all the bad out early, and then he's going to be nails as we move along into the season, because as of right now, he is the weakest link in the starting rotation that remains healthy, albeit there's a spot that continues to just be unhealthy. But when it comes to Brady Singer, the Reds need more from him, and this is that time to get going, albeit against a lineup that is more than capable of taking advantage of his mistakes.
Nationals versus Reds, Tuesday night, Great American Ballpark. It is a 3-2-1 Tuesday. Programming note for you folks that enjoy the postcast, Tim Daniel's going to be at the game, so that's going to kick off a little bit later than normal after the game. Tim's got to have time to get home. We will be back in your feeds tomorrow, breaking down the first game of this series and hopefully a quality start from Brady Singer. If you haven't done so, make sure
you're getting you set for Dolo Day number 2.
That is true. Make sure you click that subscribe button, click that notification bell. For the audio folks, make sure you are subscribed. For the audio folks, go check out the Locked On MLB feed. Lots of great baseball content over there for you. 3 shows, all covering Major League Baseball, all great stuff. You've got MLB Game Night, watching every single game every single night so that you don't have to. You've got former Reds reliever Mike Stanton talking ball from a retired player's perspective over there in that feed. And you've got Sully giving you Major League Baseball from a national perspective. For the video folks, we're going to send you over to Locked On's first ever 24/7 national YouTube channel where all of the experts of the entire network are talking ball 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to keep you in the know. We will be back in your feeds tomorrow, gathering up all the news, the notes, the rumors, the reports, and the information to keep you locked on Reds every single day.
3-2-1 Tuesday. Gotta love that they added Kona Big Wave to the 3-2-1.
Buddy, I am so excited about that. When I'm in the ballpark in July, I am going to tear that up.
Yeah.